we left off with you going to share with us today the big idea for the week in our 10 minutes together and kind of talk through then the types of co-teaching Monday through Friday. So I will let you guys lead and then we'll respond.
Okay, I kind of made like the big ideas for the whole unit, and then I did for each day. But for the whole unit, basically they're going to learn new vocab and hopefully read for enjoyment, learn at least a couple facts about the author that they didn't know, be able to apply the lit terms to the novel, realize that the themes in the novel are timeless, and apply the 6 big questions to the novel. So that's basically, hopefully, what they'll get out of it.
Okay. So if I were co-teaching with you, Lisa, could you tell me Monday versus Tuesday, which one of those ideas do you expect mastery of?
Well, Monday I went by day too. So Monday, all students will understand internal and external conflict from the movie, and they're going to learn new vocab words by collaborating and providing definitions and examples and pictures. So that's what we're doing Monday.
Okay, so let me clarify. How many vocab words would you want by the end of Monday?
Well, we have 11, and how many do you think they'll have done? I don't know.
I think maybe 5 to 6.
Okay, 5 to 6.
A little over half.
You guys are brave. I was thinking 2. Okay.
Well, I don't think we have too much of the movie left to watch because we're just watching a little bit more of the movie, so we'll get most of the period to work. So that should be.
Let's step that back if you're okay. Of the 5 to 6 you're both thinking, because I love that you're overachievers, which doesn't surprise me. What are the 2 that are like non-negotiable? Every kid's got to leave the room knowing those.
Let's see. I don't know. We haven't come up with that.
Yeah,
That's a good question.
But I know a lot of them are words that they've seen or
Yeah.
heard before, especially last year, them being sophomores, they've seen some of these words before.
Right.
So.
The words are, let me grab the words. They're filling out a sheet they're filling
Look
out.
at the list.
Can you see?
Look at your
You have to drop.
Sorry. We keep talking over. Look at your list and pick your top 2. Both of you decide. What are the top 2 that you think, if every kid didn't know this, they shouldn't be a sophomore?
Okay. Repertoire, it's going to be subdued.
Subdued and repertoire. How about that?
What was the second one? Dude and?
Subdued.
Subdued. I was like, dude, what's that? Okay, subdued and repertoire. Got it. All right. And repertoire. Now, remember, Lisa, that you were saying that you're going to give an assessment at the end? And I had suggested 2 words. TJ, those are your 2 words. Those are the 2 words that your kids that are very, very low level are going to get quizzed on Friday.
Okay.
So today, if you can work on mastery, then what you can do, TJ, is on Tuesday make sure those 2 kids or 3 still know those 2 words and know those 2 words and know those 2 words and know those 2 words. So you can see where that makes it kind of differentiated from Monday, that you're heading for the goal for Friday, I assume, is when you're going to give the assessment, Lisa, or is it going to be later than that?
Well, I wasn't sure. So we have 2 sets of words going. We have the literary terms, and so we can go through like protagonist, antagonist, and initially when I thought of that quiz, I was thinking of those words, but they have had them last year, so we could just change it up because I hate to double up those words.
Yeah.
Plus, those words we're just applying to the novel. They should already know those, and then we practiced. So, yeah, so then I thought, yeah, we'll just go with these words because...
Okay. But if you wanted to add protagonist and antagonist, I think 4 is okay. But to me, those are more about the bigger idea that you shared about the author. So again, I'm trying to model to you, if I were co-teaching with you, that's what I would choose to do. So on Monday, the kids are going to know 2 vocabulary words. And I'm sorry, what was the second thing?
What else? Oh, we're going over internal and external conflict. So we'll definitely know it from the movie.
Yep.
So they're always getting it.
Yep.
Because
So
it's so
what
much
kind of co-teaching?
novel.
I'm sorry, what kind of co-teaching are you going to use today?
Well,
We'll probably use that little commercial that we did.
yeah.
That worked for the rest of the movie. And then...
yeah, probably the commercial break. That worked really well. And then I think they're going to be working in their groups, so we're just going to both go around and help them.
Okay.
Yep.
So I wasn't here on Friday when they started the activity, and
The
TJ
terms.
said it was a little bit hard for some of them.
It started off
Okay.
fairly difficult, and then we did one or two together as a whole class, and that seemed to get some of the lower kids to kind of like, oh, I kind of get it now, and so that helped going over one or two together.
So what I would call that this morning is you're going to start out with one lead, one support. Lisa, you're going to lead the movie, you're going to support, and then you're going to go to try to truly team teach, which is great to do right in the beginning.
Okay.
Because you're both going to be teaming whatever kids need. So let's talk then about what's the big idea for Tuesday. I'm going to make it
Tuesday. Let me look. We have, well, basically we have a little bit, I kind of saved Tuesday for whatever we don't get done Monday.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so let's go to Wednesday.
Wednesday, let's go to. Okay, so they're all going to,
Mainly it's six questions, isn't it?
yeah. Wednesday is going to be the big questions. We're going to go over those. We could do that on Tuesday. I just wasn't sure with time since it's a new unit. But the big questions, like the what does it mean to grow up, the questions that they voted on, so we were going to work on application. So each group should at least be able to walk out of the room knowing their answer, the correct answer, or at least ideas of what they come up with to that question, and they should be able to apply it to the movie. So then that way when we read the book, they'll apply it.
Have 4 groups or 5 groups in your room?
6 groups.
6. Okay. So I would love to push you to try something. Feel free by Tuesday to look at me, and go, no, she's crazy. We're not ready yet. But to put 3 groups with TJ and 3 groups with you in a station, and you take half the questions, TJ and Lisa, you take the other half. And on Wednesday, they answer half the questions. The next day, they switch with you guys and do the other and do more of a station teaching.
Okay, we can try that. Okay.
Yeah, and when you do that in your room, let me try to model. If this were my room here in this web camera, one of you is going to have a U shape with your groups in one corner, and you're going to be facing TJ across the room, and he's going to have a U shape of his groups in his corner. So you're going to go as far away in the room as possible from each other, but you're going to be looking at each other, and the kids are going to be in a U facing you.
That makes sense because you can go that way.
Yeah, and then right now I'd love for you guys to have a signal. That means we need to meet in the middle because something's wrong. I don't care what you pick, but what would you like your signal to be?
All time out.
Well, time out.
Okay, time out. So basically that and what you should do when you're station teaching is do that at least 3 times during that, which is give each other a signal, meet in the middle, and say, how's it going? Well, I've only got 1 question done. Teacher's like, well, I got 3 questions done. Okay, well, you know what? Then maybe you should take 1 additional question in your group and I only have 2. Because maybe your first question is harder for the kids to answer. So instead of assuming it's 3 and 3, it might be 4 and 2. So you want to do a couple of sidebars even when you're doing stations to make sure you're moving the way you want to. So that way when the kids switch, then he again has 4 questions, you have 2, or vice versa. Because otherwise what happens is you get ready to switch and you're like, that did not go like I thought it was going to at all. And I think that would be a good one for you. So we have 2 minutes left, again, trying to be very cognizant of the 10 minutes. What would you recommend for Thursday and Friday are the big ideas then?
Well, hopefully by then we're going to be reading, and so hopefully in the beginning they're just going to be able to identify the characters in the setting, some of the characters in the setting. And on the reading, I wasn't quite sure. We'll take turns reading, but how much should we let them read by themselves too?
Especially with it not being a chapter book per se. It's kind of just one long novel with just a few broken up sections. So getting into saying finish this chapter would be much more difficult in this book rather than others.
So get as far as we can. So they're going to have a chart to fill out while they read, and they'll be able to keep track of that. So hopefully they'll walk away with knowing some of the main characters in the setting and some of the rising action. So,
all right.
But
so
we'll see how far we get. So.
Right. You may not get there, and you may take Wednesday and Thursday to do the station, and you may just start reading on Friday. 2 quick tips, just trying to give you some fun things to think about. One might be to try spirit reading, and that's where you tell the kids. It's called spirit reading. Spirit, S-P-I-R-I-T, and you say to the kids, whomever the spirit moves can start reading aloud, but the spirit must leave you by the end of the page. And so what I do as the teacher is I start and I stop right in the middle of a sentence. And I'm just quiet. And then the spirit has to move them. That way your kids with disabilities who can't read aren't worried about being called on. And you say, if the spirit isn't moving you today, here's the behavior. So TJ, I would recommend you do a chart on the board of what it looks like and what it sounds like to know you're reading and you're following along. So what's the behavior we'll see if you're reading along, and what will the behavior we hear if the spirit moves you? And I'll hear you reading aloud. And you'll have kids choral read. You just let them keep choral reading, but it will get them very engaged in the reading of the passage if you're going to do a read aloud. The second thing I would do on the chart is I would have one of you about every 5 minutes do a brain break and put a red triangle around things everybody must know. And that way, and then you say, TJ, to that super low student, I just want you to write down on your chart the red triangles. You don't need to fill the chart in except for things that we've said are red triangles. That way you've differentiated the writing for that student, but you still ask them to be engaged. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, it looks like you guys need to go. Am I correct?
Good. We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, good. I thought somebody was in the room wanting to talk to you. Got it.
Homecoming week,
It's
so-
homecoming week, so it's kind of crazy. No, they're fine.
Got it.
That sounds good. So, but basically, we're just, working on, after that, we're reading quite a bit, so.
Got it. So it sounds
the
like
book.
you're in Monday, one lead, one support, and team teaching. Tuesday, or by Wednesday, Thursday, you'll probably be in stations. And on Friday, it sounds like you'll go back to team teaching and one lead, one support some. So I think that's a really good challenge to give yourself. TJ, it may be something you choose to do an alternative teach a little bit during the read aloud. If you see a couple kids that you think you need to practice a passage with, like I often like to take kids during the opening activity for like 2 minutes and have them read the opening paragraph and say, I believe the spirit is going to move Brandon first. And Brandon then starts to read before everybody else. And they're like, wow, Brandon learned to read last night. So again, you could choose to do that on Friday if you think a kid needs a self-esteem boost.
Okay.
That sounds good.
All right. Anything else I can help with?
No,
No, nothing I can think of.
nothing that I can think of right now.
A
So.
great plan in 10 minutes. So last question, next time we meet, co-planning, co-instructing, or co-assessing, what do you think you need help with?
Oh.
We'll probably be in the co-instructing.
Probably co-instructing, because after that,
Right into the book.
we're going to be right in the middle of the book. So we're going to, we'll have lots of activities where we break and out of your seat and tell your partner what just happened, and like the ticket to leave class, what just happened, or tell me one thing that happened in the novel today, and things like that. So we'll probably do a lot of activities that show they're engaged in the book.
Okay, great.
So
let's ask for that to be your ideal. Bring an activity that you're worried about the next time we talk. You're like, oh, what more could we do with this activity to use both of us and to make sure we're differentiating it? And that will be a good target for next meeting.
Sounds good.
Right, is this helpful? We want to be sure we're doing what you need.
No, that's very helpful.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it's
very
very
helpful.
helpful. Yeah.
Especially when it's a brand new unit. So.
All right, well, anytime you need a break from us, let us know. Happy homecoming. Thank you.
Okay, see you later.
Bye.